This is Essie Featured. This is the power of sports.
They're not superheroes. They're not the X-Men. They are us, just slightly better versions of us. They know what it means to find your path and to find what makes you whole again, what makes you a warrior again. We've put these folks through a lot. And they deserve our attention.
That was 2 years ago. I'd just spoken at the opening ceremonies of the Warrior Games, a competition for wounded, ill, and injured service members and veterans.
I didn't come up here to support these athletes. I came up here to get support from them.
It quickly became clear that these stories not only should be heard, but needed to be heard.
This is a spirit for the country that I think is a bit lost. Is there a way for the country to re-engage that?
The point is, getting that story out there, it can change your life. It can honestly change your life.
And they have.
It was dark. It went really dark. I felt alone. In fact, that was the most alone I've ever felt in my life.
Her name is Christina Truesdale, a triathlete, avid road bike competitor, competitive archer, and a retired major in the United States Army, a warrior.
I'm from a military family. My dad was a Marine, and my parents never pressured me to join the military. I knew I wanted to be a veterinarian. So for me, being in the military was like the furthest thing from my mind. And so then, of course, ROTC said, hey, would you like a scholarship? And I was like, I don't know. And then I finally made the decision, and so I contracted, and they paid for the rest of my undergrad degree.
So you become a veterinarian, and then we're a country at war.
Well, 9/11 happened when I was a sophomore or second year vet student. Nobody knew what was going to happen. I just remember being huddled around this little television, just watching that horror over and over again and thinking, you know what, this is the path I'm on and I will do whatever they tell me to do.
You know, one day you are learning how to give an enema to a guinea pig.
Pretty much.
And the next day they strap you with an M4 and you're at Fort Bragg.
Christina would serve 2 tours in Iraq before being selected for a special operations mission in Afghanistan, where in addition to her duties as a vet, she also became a jump master.
They bring you into special operations, and the next thing you know, you are a jump master, but you start to feel physically
Yes.
something is not right.
I was experiencing some back pain that no one could explain. And it wasn't just like, ouch, my back hurts. I would buckle to the floor. So they found this big cyst at the bottom of my spinal cord. Basically, your spinal cord should be free floating in your spinal canal. Mine wasn't. It was stretched out about 6 inches too long, and it was actually like glued down to the bottom of my spinal canal.
Christina was diagnosed with a tethered spinal cord. Surgery was scheduled immediately, but it didn't end there. A subsequent stroke, and then a second surgery made it difficult for Christina to do anything. Just putting on socks became an accomplishment.
You're just lying in the hospital and you're flat on your back and you don't really know what becomes of this.
I have no idea. All kinds of things are going through my head. I was like, oh God, what's gonna happen to my military career? Am I gonna be able to ride my bikes again? I was like, this is it for me. I'm disabled. I have a 100% disability rating, and
They gave you a 100% disability rating.
I have 100%. That's not something I tell a lot of people, but
Wow, okay.
I have some pretty significant neurologic issues and some
Right.
things that will be with me for the rest of my life.
How do you turn yourself back on?
This time a year ago, I was thinking I was gonna die. I mean, I'd just been through all this horrible surgery, and I went, there's a sushi place around the corner here, and they had ESPN on, and it was the Warrior Games. I'm like, man, look at these like really awesome athletes. That sort of put the bug in my ear, and the light went off, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing.
When I see these athletes at the Warrior Games, you see suddenly that thing that I just saw in your eyes. Suddenly the competitor is alive again. Suddenly you have a task again.
Yes, absolutely. I feel so alive when I'm out on a bike. The day that I actually got back on and I was able to clip in and go on a bike ride, I felt like a human again. I felt like Chris again, and I'm like, yes! So I meet the director of adaptive reconditioning, Jon Stewart, and he says, you know, you really should try some of these other sports. So he put a bow in my hands.
She came to posture and pulled up the bow. It was like looking at a professional. She was laughing, smiling, and you could just see the fire light up in her eyes. It was a totally different person.
Now it's time to put an arrow. Yes, and you can either rest it on your hip or you can put this guy on the ground.
Is this considered like
so
cool way to rest your bow?
that's the way to do
Like
it.
right now, am I looking pretty kind of a chill archer?
It's if you have a spinal cord injury, that's definitely the cool way to do it. I think you got it. Nice! Woohoo!
Dude!
Look at that! You meet people who have been on your journey. I was not prepared for the mental torment that this process was going to be. It was literally torture to sit here and think about all these things and, you know, who am I now and is this my new normal and what is this? And so to be able to go and share that spirit with all of those other people, it's amazing. I mean, it's just, I can't even describe how cool that is.
And you know what's going to happen is somebody's going to be sitting in a sushi bar who's just had a grievous injury or is at his dark place, and they're going to see you, and they're going to see what you've been able to do in a year, and a light's going to go back on in them.
I hope so.
Oh, I know so.